Now, I could sit here for hours and talk to you about how much I loved the finale of Kenobi. The rematch between Obi-Wan and Vader was everything I wanted and more. It had so many moments that were just beyond perfect. The dialogue was fantastic. Don't get me wrong, the show as a whole had its problems, a lot of them, but this sequence had none. However, there was one huge Star Wars issue that has always bugged me that this scene actually fixed, and it was done very, very well. Let's get into it. So the finale of Kenobi begins to come to a close when Vader follows Obi-Wan to the surface of a nearby planet. I don't think the name of that planet has ever actually been mentioned, though I have seen some fans suggesting it was Malachor 5 and others stating it was Vancor, a planet which features once or twice in the Clone Wars, but I can't say without knowing for certain. Anyway, as Vader approaches his old master, he asks in his deep, iconic voice,
"Have you come to destroy me, Obi-Wan?"
To which Obi-Wan responds once again with,
"I will do what I must,"
before entering into his also iconic stance. There is no big emotional conversation, nothing too deep, no attempt to reason with the other, no questioning for an explanation on either side, just a response saying,
"Then you will die."
That was it for me. Sold. Whatever came after, I was happy. This is Star Wars. The old friends go on to fight, student against master, brother against brother. The fight is truly epic, using a mix of force powers and beautiful lightsaber choreography. Then later on in the fight, Obi-Wan begins to completely take over, wounding Vader quite severely, damaging the box on his chest and causing his breathing to go all Return of the Jedi-ish. A few seconds later, he leaps in with a huge swing and slashes Vader straight across the face, beautifully revealing Anakin's face under the mask, just as Ahsoka Tano had once done. Interestingly, if you haven't noticed, Ahsoka was able to take off one side of the mask, Obi-Wan the other side. It was only Luke that was able to remove his mask fully. Poetic. Anyway, after Vader's face had been revealed, Obi-Wan chooses not to berate him, or judge him, or even shout at him. He chooses to apologize.
"I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it."
It's one of the most touching scenes in Star Wars by an absolute mile. Up there with,
"You were my brother, Anakin! I loved you!"
But this isn't what I'm here to talk about. The thing that has always bugged me in Star Wars, particularly with the end of Episode 3, is Vader's voice. Yes, Obi-Wan cut off his arms and legs, left him burning, but even then, Anakin was shouting at Kenobi. His voice was just as we know it. But just a few scenes later, when Palpatine reveals his cyber-repaired Darth Vader, his voice is completely different. And I don't just mean in tone or pitch, like completely different, even down to the accent.
"Where is Padme?"
Now obviously I'm not stupid, this is because James Earl Jones' iconic voice came long before Hayden Christensen's. But I had always expected them to make some kind of mention of how his voice box had been damaged, or how it was now a purely cybernetic voice, or something like that. But during this sequence, when Anakin is speaking to Obi-Wan, you can subtly hear changes in his voice. It changes as if it's being fed through some kind of voice synthesizer or something.
"I will destroy you."
What's odd is how much more intimidating Vader is with his iconic voice, not Anakin's voice. So it's clear to me that this change in voice was purely a choice, probably by Palpatine or maybe Vader himself. At the end of the day, Vader rules through intimidation, and his voice is a large part of that. This scene highlighted that beautifully for me. It let in a little bit of Anakin, but put enough of Vader's voice interference in to let us know that he is still truly evil and we should still fear him. This wasn't something I expected them to give us with this scene, and I may be way overthinking this. Hell, I could be the only person that really cares about this, but to me, it was awesome. I'm really curious to know what you guys thought about this, and what are your thoughts on the series as a whole. Like I said, it did have many issues, but scenes like this really made it for me. I'm usually all for having a series over a movie, but this is a rare occasion where I think Obi-Wan's story was probably better suited to a single movie rather than a series. God damn the Solo movie for ruining spin-offs like that for us. I'm still hanging on to some hope that we get more character spin-offs. I want to see Palpatine being trained by Plagueis. I want a survival story with Mace Windu set after Order 66. I want a young Yoda, and so much more. And that's just the prequel trilogy characters. I want a Knights of the Old Republic trilogy starring Darth Revan more than anything. Hurry up, Disney. Speaking of Disney, how do you guys feel that they are handling the franchise these days? Obviously the sequel trilogy was, well, a mess. It has some positives for sure, but largely it was a failure. Mandalorian and Kenobi were massive winners for me, Book of Boba Fett was 50% great, 50% awful, and I'm really hoping Ahsoka will be another winner. Do you think they are on the right track now after such a rocky start? Let's discuss in the comments down below. That's it from me today, my friends. Thank you all so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and I will see you next time on Rebel Arena.